Is it a good time to buy a house? That is one of the questions that I got in my inbox, along with some personal details that I will not share, but real estate is my wheelhouse. And I think they saw the video where I was talking about the rapture, and if you're going to sell your stuff, if you're selling a house, call me because I buy houses. And they're asking, like, is it a good time? Like, do we need to do this? And so there's two things that I want to say. The first thing is, if you need a house, you need to buy a house. That does not change based on the interest rates, but like the amount of house you are able to purchase will change depending on interest rates and the price of houses. But if you need somewhere to live, then buy you somewhere to live. Now, if you are planning on moving, if your job relocates you every 2 years, that's probably not a wise decision. However, if you are in a place where you need somewhere to live, if you are currently renting a place, then find a house. Find a house that is comparable to what you are paying in rent. Like, it used to be that you could rent a house for a lot cheaper than you can, pay a mortgage. That is not the case anymore. Y'all, rent is sky high. And so if you're in a place where you need to buy a house, then yes, do it. Also, the other side of that is there are protections that are in place specifically for homeowners, because the way our economy works, capitalism rewards ownership. And so if something happens, if God forbid you lose your job and you have a government insured mortgage, there are programs designed to help you keep your house. That doesn't mean you won't ever have to pay it back, because you do. But there are programs designed to reward ownership. If you are renting a house and you lose your job, good luck. 30 days, they're filing. You will get a 3-day notice, and a few days later, the sheriff will show up, because this economy, it rewards ownership. Now, if you don't need a house, if you are completely fine, if you've got a place where you're paying $600 a month in rent and there is nothing that will give you a mortgage that's $600, then don't move. I think that people, we are so caught up on achieving what our parents have done, what it took them 20, 30 years to achieve. We are so caught up in achieving that in no time, in 5 years. We wanted to have just graduated from college, and now all of a sudden we're ready to start life and we want to start by buying a house. That's not necessarily the best advice, especially in this economy. I have said many, many times, we probably need to get back to familial living. Or if you have girlfriends, guy friends, people that love and trust, that you don't mind living with, like, that's not a bad option. Because people are losing their jobs left and right. I cannot tell you. Y'all, I do real estate for a living. I literally cannot tell you in the last 2 months the number of transactions that have completely fallen apart because somebody has had their hours reduced. Because someone lost their job. They did a verbal verification of employment the day before, 2 days before closing, and they've been laid off. They say we may bring them back. And so, yeah, if you need somewhere to stay, then absolutely you should buy a house. But don't do it as a flex. And if you find something that's a really good deal, then yes, absolutely, you should do it, because the protections are for ownership, not for tenants. Like, that's not the way that our system is set up. Second thing, and I don't know another way to say this, y'all, buy what you can afford. If you're going to buy a house, buy what you can afford. It doesn't matter that it is not what I am specifically looking for when I'm buying properties. I am specifically looking for the ugliest house in the best neighborhood. Like, I don't care that it's ugly. I don't care that it may need a new roof or new windows, or I don't care about any of that. What I want is, I want a neighborhood of owners. I want a neighborhood where people are invested in the community, because if I'm able to buy that house, then I'm able to ensure that we're a part of that community, whether it's for me to live in personally or an investment property. Every property that I've purchased, I want the community buy-in. And so if I'm able to get 1 or 2 or 3 different houses on the same street, I want that. I want to foster community. That doesn't mean that every tenant I've had has been great. That doesn't mean, like, none of that stuff. But I want the best house. Like, if you don't buy a house that is already, like, made up, it is picture perfect. The pictures on Zillow look amazing. There's nothing you can do. In fact, you want to buy it with all the furniture. You can do that, and you will pay top of the market. I would much rather buy a house that's really ugly, where they only have 1 or 2 pictures online, because they don't really want you to see before you go to the property. Because then you have the opportunity to make it yours. Then you have the opportunity to paint and to, maybe lay new floors at some point. Maybe you want to do upgrades. Now, if you're not a contractor, if you don't, I'm not telling you to take on a project that's going to cost you way more than you can afford. But if you buy a house and all it needs is cosmetic updates, you make the updates, because then you get the benefit of the equity. And ownership is the way that our system is set up to reward ownership. So I hope that answers your question. If not, inbox me and I'll try to type it out.